Hi, this is Jolene Philo again, and I would like to welcome you to week 2 of our online book study of Different Dream Parenting, a practical guide to raising a child with special needs. Last week we discussed the first section of the book, which was the introduction and the first 4 chapters about receiving a diagnosis for your child with special needs. This week we're moving on to section 2, which is all about having a child with special needs who is hospitalized. And the theme for this section of the book is going from confused to confident. Now, I know that all of you do not have a child who has been hospitalized because of the special needs, but many of you do have experience with hospitalization where a child is involved. My experience began with my son's birth, and he was in neonatal intensive care for about 3.5 weeks, and then until he was 5, we had, I don't know how many hospitalizations, I've kind of lost count, but especially when we were in there the first time with our son, it really seemed to me that we were going into a different world, and maybe it was like that for you too. But there was so much to learn and navigate and become familiar with before I could be an effective advocate for my child in a hospital setting, that I really wanted to hit that aspect of parenting a child with special needs in this book. And that's what we're going to be doing this week. We're going to be discussing your experiences or your questions about upcoming experiences, whatever. And this also kind of goes, even if you haven't had a child who's hospitalized, you may be able to identify with this, with what the topic is in many cases because of medical appointments you've had with doctors and just having to navigate the healthcare field. But here are some of the things we're going to be talking about this week, starting tomorrow morning, Monday, when I will post the first 2 questions dealing with Chapter 5. And by the way, we're going to be reading chapters 5 through 8. Those are pages 59 to 96. So throughout the week, and especially tomorrow, we're going to talk about just getting into the hospital and how you develop a support system within the hospital, and then how you maintain and create a support system of people outside the hospital who can help you deal with your hospital stay. Then on Tuesday, we're going to talk about working with hospital staff and those caring for your child, being part of that team. And maybe if you've ever been part of your child's care team at the hospital, you can share that experience with us about going to care team meetings if you've done those. Wednesday, we're going to be talking about how to translate all of the hospital language so kids can understand it, and we'll also be discussing ways that parents can practice self-care while they're caring for their child in the hospital. Thursday and Friday, the discussion will have more of a spiritual bent, as it always does in this study. On Thursday, we will be talking about how to look for God's presence when your child is hospitalized, and how to hear his voice speak to you, how to, kind of see those God incidences that happen in unexpected times and places. Friday, we will be tossing about ideas about how to maintain Bible reading when your child is hospitalized. I mean, it's really a time where you need the scripture to help you stay focused on God's promises and look beyond the present situation. But it's so hard to maintain when you're caring for a child in the hospital. So we'll talk about some techniques that you could use to keep a simple Bible reading process going, and you'll have an opportunity to share your ideas, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked. So I'm really looking forward to talking to you and hearing your ideas about what we do when our kids are hospitalized. So again, this is week 2 of our study. I look forward to hearing your ideas and seeing your comments each day as new questions are posted. And remember, you can feel free to go anytime and post comments on any of the other pages for other discussions that we've had last week, this week, and then in the future as we have more. Anyway, that's it for today. Talk to you during this week. See you then.